A couple has been trying to get pregnant for years, holding their dreams of having a massive family with 9 kids close to their heart. They tried everything, different medications, different doctors, different treatments, but nothing seems to be working. In a last-ditch attempt, they tried in vitro fertilization, or IVF. After 2 cycles of in vitro fertilization, thousands of dollars, and years of emotional turmoil, the couple finally conceives a healthy child. Well, that child was me, and that couple was my parents. While society likes to call me a test tube baby, my family and me prefer to call me a miracle baby. Conversations about infertility or IVF are seen as taboo in our society, which is why it makes sense that we never hear about in vitro fertilization or the obstacles associated with it, despite the fact that in 2013, more than 1.5% of children born were conceived via IVF, according to an LA Times article in March 2015. But in vitro fertilization needs to be seen more as a medical necessity and not an ethical dilemma, and should be made affordable to all couples who need it in order to conceive a healthy child. Next, I'm going to tell you about what IVF is, the costs associated with it, why people undergo it, the ethics involved, and what you can do to help couples that need IVF to have a child. So IVF is an infertility treatment in which the egg is fertilized outside the womb, according to the Mayo Clinic website. It is then reimplanted inside the womb so that it can grow. Before this can occur, a woman has to go under hormones, both oral and injection, for up to 2 weeks beforehand, before anything can be done. This is a huge simplification of the process, but it really varies a lot from couple to couple or individual to individual, depending on the infertility problems involved and the individuals involved. As you might have guessed, this complex process is not cheap. The Advanced Fertility Clinic in Chicago, a reputable clinic with higher birth rates than the national average, says that it costs about $12,000 for 1 cycle of in vitro fertilization, not including the costs of hormonal medications or any additional procedures that couples may need, such as embryo freezing. And this is the cost per cycle, so 1 round of it, which may or may not be successful. And in fact, it typically isn't successful the first time around. The CDC's 2014 Assisted Reproductive Technology Fertility Clinic Success Rates report states that out of all the cycles of assisted reproductive technology in 2014, only 37.1% of those involving a woman under the age of 35 was successful, resulting in a live birth. Now, as the woman gets older, this tends to go down quite quickly, with about women over 44 having a 1.2% success rate. This involves all sorts of assisted reproductive technology, but the most common and primary one that this is including is IVF. So why do people pay so much money for such low odds of having a child? The Mayo Clinic website states that this is typically used with women who are found to be infertile above the age of 40, but it can also be used in several other instances, such as sometimes there's unexplained infertility, or if you've had damage to your fallopian tubes. It covers a wide spectrum. But a common reason it's used is the concept of genetic screening, which is when if someone knows they have a genetic disease or is a carrier of a disease, they can have all embryos that are fertilized scanned for that disease prior to implantation, so that only the healthy embryos are implanted. This is really commonly used with people that are carriers of Tay-Sachs, cystic fibrosis, or in my case, familial polyposis. And it's the only way most people can conceive a healthy child without risk of carrying on these diseases. Now, while I see this as an ethical choice to conceive a child that is healthy and not passing on a gene, a lot of organizations and individuals see this as an unethical choice, the largest of which is the Catholic Church. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops states on their website that obviously IVF eliminates the Marriage Act as a means of achieving pregnancy, instead of helping it achieve this natural end. The new life is not engendered through an act of love between husband and wife, but by a laboratory procedure performed by doctors or technicians. But not only are religious groups against it, but individuals who see this genetic screening as a stepping stone on the way to creating designer babies or a eugenics-like approach to having children are highly against this topic. However, a panel done by the National Academy of Medicine stated that while it was okay to use this gene therapy concept to better a child's health by removing a problem gene, they agreed that it was not allowed to be used for things such as changing eye color or gender or height, and as if they're shopping for a child, according to a February 2017 article done by NBC News. And in fact, while most people see genetic screening as the stepping stone, the concept of gene therapy isn't even in use and is not even in the works yet. So they just are making assumptions based off of the concept of genetic screening and what that sounds like. So most couples have trouble affording this large procedure, and while most procedures like this are covered by insurance, only 15 states mandate that insurance companies cover infertility treatments under their insurance umbrella, but only 4 of those specify that IVF is covered, and that's according to Result, the National Infertility Association's website. And those laws vary state to state, and some states only cover 1 cycle, which, as I've discussed, is typically not successful and doesn't result in a child. And under the Affordable Care Act, only the minimum coverage that a state gives is covered under the Affordable Care Act. So unless a state says that is an essential part of what a person needs under insurance, the Affordable Care Act does not cover infertility treatments or IVF. In fact, they hold it under the same umbrella as plastic surgery: unessential, unnecessary, and not really important. But in what world is a child held in the same importance and level of regard as a facelift or a tummy tuck? A study by the Washington University in St. Louis published their study in March 2017, stating that couples that had insurance coverage were more likely to come back for a second trial of IVF if the initial cycle was unsuccessful, versus those who did not have insurance coverage, with 70% of women who were covered by insurance coming back for that second cycle, with only around 52% of those uncovered coming back for a second cycle. Therefore, the people that are insured are coming back more often and are increasing their chances of having a child, showing that insurance really does make a difference on whether or not these people can have a child. So how can we help these families and these individuals? There are organizations like BabyQuest or Pay It Forward Fertility Foundation that raise money online and through events for couples that need in vitro fertilization to have a child but cannot pay for it themselves. BabyQuestFoundation.org discusses how they have events at specific locations to raise money. They also encourage couples to have baby showers to raise money and sell attire and fund online donations as well. And they help all sorts of couples, no matter sexual orientation or number of parents. Finally, you can also help by advocating to your state and federal governments that insurance is something that IVF should be covered under insurance and is not just a cosmetic procedure. It's something worth more than that. And finally, work to normalize the conversation about infertility and don't isolate the parents and children of IVF, and work to include them. So I've talked to you about what IVF is, the costs associated with it, the reasons behind it, the stigma associated with it, and how you can help. It is horrible that so many couples have to fight so hard to have a child, just to have to keep on fighting for the rest of their life to be seen as equals or as non-horrible people in our society. But every donation and every letter written to the government takes us one step closer to this goal of having IVF accepted. I would like to end with a story that I grew up hearing a lot as a child called The Star Thrower, adapted from Joel Barker from Lauren Elsley's 1969 essay, The Unexpected Universe. In it, an old man is walking along the beach when he sees a young man throwing starfish into the ocean. He walks up to the boy to ask him what he's doing, and the boy responds, "The tide's going out and the sun's beating down, and if I don't throw these starfish in the ocean, they will surely die." And the man points out that there are thousands of starfish along the ocean, and there's no way he can make a difference. And the young man, in response, reaches down, picks up the starfish, and throws it into the ocean and says, "It made a difference for that one. Thank you."